Tanu, edge of the box. Ducking underneath it this time, Ludvigsen and Mindil. They've come out here playing like it's the last 5 minutes and they're clinging on at the moment. You feel like this is a pretty important stand just to get a foothold in the game. And John Dean, you called it to a T that it was going to be a flying start. It has absolutely been that after 4 minutes.
Yes, certainly, and it's been all Mindil, hasn't it? Casuarina really haven't had time to get on the ball. They'll be looking to try and bring it down under control and mount an attack of their own here.
Imam Muklas. It's taken a touch off the back of the head of Luis Rodriguez and offside. So the Mindil team, Arlo Race in goal. 2 is Marcus Lee. 3, William Reeve. 4, Taiki Kudo. 6, Mario Kwarkanen. 7, Charles Eriku. 8, Matthew Mifsud. 9, Christopher Reinberg. 11 is Tanu. 14, Tavian Ludvigsen. And 15, Johnny Pencho. As we have a restart from the offside. Brought down by Ludvigsen. Charles Eriku there in support, but couldn't keep the ball. Midfield battle results. And going back and making up for an error there, Johnny Pencho. Referee Ben Kivett says all ball in the tackle, and Quinlan Tran wins the throw-in for Casuarina. Casuarina, Dion Newell, their goalkeeper. 3, Sebastian Smith. 4, Gordon Pereira. 5, Zico Casemiro. 6, Reza Passmore. 7, Mark Casemiro. 9, Luis Rodriguez. 8, Corey Davis. 10, Imam Muklas. 13, Quinlan Tran. And 14, Dylan Vong. What are the weather and conditions like at Darwin Football Stadium tonight, John Dean?
So there's no wind at all to speak of. The humidity is actually up a little bit, but it's cooled down from what was the top of 32, 33 today to be 27 just before kickoff. So it's an ideal night for football. And the team sheet leader, Luis Rodriguez gets his first start, but it just gives an absolute second outlet for Casuarina. Zelio actually played himself, the coach, on Tuesday, but he's pulled up with a knee injury. But Mark Casemiro has been so isolated. It's going to be interesting to see how Mindil deal with that two-pointed attack.
So another corner coming up. Christopher Reinberg taking his second corner in a row. This time does meet a teammate's head, but too far from goal to cause any trouble. Row of defenders were lined up to deflect it away. Reinberg, this time, can't really elevate his cross into the box. Corey Davis. And a little grab of the shirt there. Not able to disguise it. The Mindil man. What about that midweek game? A 3-2 loss to Uni Atsuri on Tuesday night for Casuarina. And really, it puts them backs to the wall here, because even though they have an ample break over 4th, 5th and 6th, they've lost touch with the top 2, and it means that they pretty much need 3 points tonight. Otherwise, they might find themselves just drifting between now and the end of the home and away season.
Absolutely, and they've got the most condensed of any of their schedules. With that round 19 and round 20 being played over a 6-week window, they actually back it up consecutive Tuesdays. So they've got that 4 games in the space of about 10 or 11 days. And so that has the opportunity to either make or break that middle part of the season for them, and they can find themselves really isolated, as you say, in 3rd if they don't get a result here.
And then how different did Uni Atsuri look last night compared to the team that won on Tuesday? Because I would have thought not just that they won, but the way they won, stoppage time winner, that's the sort of thing that might have turned their campaign around, and instead Port Darwin got them 2-0 last night.
Yeah, look, the team was very similar, and the style of play was very similar. The Rowdies just weren't as clinical as Port Darwin was last night in shutting down the point of attack, Chris Aquara. And if you give him too many opportunities, obviously he will score. He popped up, obviously, with that late winner, and Port were able to keep him a little bit more quiet last night.
Had some sensational games in this Premier Division this season. Big comebacks from multiple goals down, stoppage time winners. We've had late penalty drama as well in a couple of games, with saved and missed penalties in the last minute of matches. And Tuesday night was just another classic example of what this competition can throw up. As for a moment there, it looked like Uni Atsuri was going to throw the race for the top 4 wide open. And I must say, I know that you are not a totally impartial observer on this, John, but Port Darwin must really believe that fourth place is very much up for grabs and in play now.
Oh, 100%. You know, there's plenty of people that have already shut the door on Port Darwin and Darwin Hearts getting in the top 4 this season, and I don't think that either of the clubs will mind that, but certainly there's nobody involved in either of those sides that believes that at this point in time. It's a three-horse race really for that fourth spot at this point.
So many points still to play for. So Hellenic top on 27 after their win today, and their goal difference is now plus 24. Mindil only 2 points back, 25, but their goal difference is only plus 11. So unless they really rain goals down on an opponent between now and the end of the season, chances are they're not going to overhaul that Hellenic goal difference. And then Casuarina further back on 17, and their goal difference is only plus 3. And they're looking over their shoulder at Uni Atsuri on 13 points. So Port Darwin on 11. It's not beyond possibility that even third place could be on the table for Port Darwin, looking in from the outside. And of course, they would love Mindil to do them a favour tonight. As the ball is cleared out, we've had almost 10 minutes. Things have calmed down from the hectic opening, but Casuarina still yet to really put together an attack of any sort. And John, this gives us a chance to touch on the historical stranglehold and maybe a little bit of voodoo, a little bit of superstition that means that Casuarina has the wood over Mindil, and really Mindil's their bunny. As someone who knows the league and the historical context a lot better than me, is there anything specific you can put that down to?
Experience versus youth, really. And across the course of a season, as we're seeing this year, Mindil's right out in front, but Casuarina have just got the players that have been there and done that, and that's how they won the championship last year against Mindil, who were looking for their first one in over 30 years. But, eventually the young buck becomes the bull, and that's maybe what we're seeing at the moment, but they haven't quite got it through their heads yet, Mindil. As we
see a deflected strike here, and it takes the sting out of the ball. For a moment it reared up and looks like it might cause trouble for Dion Newell, and he's not afraid of just establishing a bit of physical presence in that 6-yard box as well. Here's Rodriguez, quick counter attack, but he's 1-on-4, waiting for the cavalry to arrive, and then great pass through the left side. Muklas, he went for the chip. He was inspired by Diamanti in the A-League the other night, when perhaps a driven shot may have been the order. Corey Davis thought he had an assist, not to be, and John, that is a big early miss. Casuarina's first proper chance on goal, and Imam Muklas decided to dink rather than drive.
100% there, Teo. Muklas is a classy player, but he's gone with the left-footed finish there rather than the right, and I think he's actually pulled up lame from that, so hopefully he's all right, but he ruining that. He's better than that finish was.
We've seen how quickly they can transition Casuarina. We haven't even called their top scorer, Mark Casimiro's name, who really does dominate their for and against. 11 goals to his name. The next highest scorer is Kilmartin with 3. And as John Dean mentioned, it looks like the referee is signalling for a sub, and it's a potential hamstring or glute injury here for Imam Muklas. And given not just his ability as a player, John, but the personality that he has in a game, someone who's always got a smile on his face and is never far from the action, this is pretty devastating for Casuarina.
100%. He's a metronome for that side, and look, he's just walking past my commentary position now. I think he'll be substituted off, and Daniel Marimba will enter the fray a lot earlier than he would have been expecting, but it doesn't look good. It's a high hamstring strain or glute, as you say, and I think that's the end of his night.
And so just hope for his sake that it's not just going to be a major impediment on football, but life as well, having to hobble with a hamstring injury for a week or two. Wait for a potential sub to go through in the meantime. Charles Eriku right up the middle, through ball, and Mule had to be good coming out of his line to bomb away. Eriku unable to turn provider this time. Good solid header coming through. Guakanen. And back to the keeper, Newell, directing traffic. Steered out to the right of midfield. A great distribution. It's a couple of really good passes the goalkeeper has used. That was a high boot, and the assistant referee over on the outer side, Eric Zyra, agrees. Mifsud wins the free kick. And now it looks like...
Sorry, Tay, I was just saying, while that free kick's being taken, Charles Adu in number 11 is entering the fray, so we're back to 11 on 11.
And just at the bottom of the screen for our viewers to see, Charles Adu is running after the ball here, and there's his first touch. So the early sub, Imam Muklas out. Gordon Pereira trying to turn provider. Brilliant ball through the right side, cutting across. Goalkeeper able to claw it back into his grasp. Arlo Race wrapped his fingertips around the ball for a moment there. It looked like it was spilling right into the path of Rodriguez. He managed to conjure it into his grasp at the absolute last second. And some good strategic use of the long ball here by both teams at the moment, just to create that sense of panic in defence, as Eriku here commits to the 50-50 and then snapping back at his heels is Seb Smith to put it out for a throw. And he's going to leave it. On Newell, I know it's only 2 instances, but in the first 14 minutes, he has beautifully hit a target up the pitch with both the standing drop kick and also the punt. And I must admit, having watched Casuarina a couple of times in other games, as we see the ball go out for a corner here, I was not aware, John, that was such a prominent part of his game. I don't know if he's just struck it lucky twice in a row, but Casuarina was my game for broadcast last week, and I just cannot recall such a beautiful piece of passing out of his goalkeeping area. We'll wait for this corner.
No luck in.
And as we see the cross from Taiki Kudo sailing out, John, back to you.
No, in answer to your question, Tay, there's no luck in that whatsoever. He's got the sweetest release of any goalkeeper in Darwin. Dejan's able to hit a target from 65, 70 metres on the chest.
He's already shown us what he can do through 15 goalless minutes. But both teams are threatening. Casuarina with the best chance of the game. Mindil with more of the territory. And again, they get stuck down in their defensive end, and see the protestations of players attempting to work it out from defence. They've been bailed out by a throw here. That's a good little turn from Aidu. Put it out in front of Davis. So I was mentioning that scorers list. Casuarina, Casemiro has 11, Kilmartin 3, Marimba and Muklas, the injured man, subbed out tonight, just 2. And Rodriguez 2, Pereira 1, and Zelio Casemiro, the coach, has 1 goal this year. So Casemiro's got more goals than the rest of the team combined.
And that's really been their trouble this year, Teo, is if teams work out to get on Casemiro, that's Mark, with two defenders. They haven't really had any other options, but Luis Rodriguez in this side, as I said, that second prong, I think that's going to really trouble Mindil, particularly with that ball over the top and finding that neatly, which will do it. It's going to be a completely different challenge to what they've faced so far this season.
Well, we've barely called Mark Casemiro's name so far tonight. It has been Rodriguez who's been the main outlet, and Casemiro himself is more or less unmissable with his fluoro yellow boots that he's wearing this evening. To the best of my recollection, he had a green pair. I think we were speculating last time I called a Casuarina game that he might have broken the laces on them. So he's opted for a different set of wheels tonight. But right now his team is defending and putting the ball out for a throw is the sub, Charles Aidu.
You're absolutely right there, Teo. He blew out a pink tyre 2 games ago and debuted these yellow ones on Tuesday night, Mark Casemiro. So we're hoping to get a different result from Tuesday tonight.
Shank from William Reeve. It's not going to turn into a counter-attack, though. Marcus Lee did well to stop Casuarina in their tracks, but couldn't do much once he had the ball. Header from Mifsud. Quagganen. And Eriku is trying to dink it to Ludvigsson. Nothing happening ahead of the ball for him there. Pereira back to Aidu. And an errant pass that sails out. for a Mindil throw. Johnny Pencho, 2 goals to his name so far this season, throwing it in. Quackinen. He's held on to by Newell. Calmly rolling it to the feet of Bresda Passmore. And now the man who runs the team, Gordon Pereira. And here is Mark Casemiro. He's going to try and cut it on the diagonal. That is the most notable characteristic of his game. Stopped immediately this time. Mindil would have come in with plenty of defensive strategy around trying to contain and stop him. So far, so good through almost 20 minutes. Tied up in the corner. Assistant referee giving the throw again. Way of Casuarina. By no means a tall team. Decision made, and straight away Mindil are onto it, defending in earnest. And able to swarm with numbers. Through the left they go. And backtracking, Zico Casemiro is able to find Quinlan Tran.
Zico very alert to the danger there. He was on his bike to get back and cover, because definitely Mindil were away 3-on-1 there if he hadn't done his defensive duty.
Very impressive. Shutting down of the Casuarina throw and then trying to turn it into a counter-attack. Now they try to build steadily. Eriku attempting to ghost in behind, and Passmore did enough to defend the situation. Could have taken a kick to the ankle for his trouble, but he's able to remain upright and continue on. Quinlan Tran playing a more central role tonight. He really came into last week's match as a fullback as the game went on. I do. Showing his balance to keep the ball and weave out of a 1-on-2, and now a foul will bring a stop to play. Sebastian Smith, the recipient. Quickly taken by Gordon Pereira, trying for that element of surprise. Midle not to be caught out. Taiki Kudo rolls it in front of Lee. And Tanu misses the touch. So that will give Casuarina the ball.
The pace has just settled a little bit here, Teo. The first 15 minutes were absolutely lightning, and both teams have just sort of felt each other out now, and we're getting into the rhythm of the game that's starting to see Casuarina come back into it a little bit more with time in possession, as opposed to just those long balls forward to Rodriguez put into chase.
That's a good point, John. At about a quarter of the way through the night's action, I assume, as we see a giveaway here, it is not warm enough for drinks breaks in the game.
No, absolutely correct. Haven't had drinks breaks for 3 or 4 weeks now, and don't expect to see them until potentially any early finals kickoffs in late September, early October.
Mindle ball, top of their defensive penalty area. Johnny Pencho. And then a little slip from Kudo opens the door. Casemiro has been starved of possession. He'll enjoy the chance to run here, and then it's nicked off his toes straight away. Good, attentive defending by Mindle. Danger Man barely had a run at it. Now Gordon Pereira wants to distribute to the right. There's an overload in numbers here. Oh, the first touch, not good enough. Opening the door there, Dylan Vong, the goalkeeper. Arlo raced to come out and dive at his feet when it looked like they were in through the right. And Vong has not had too much of the ball in this game so far. Maybe it showed there, because I would say that was the second best chance of the night so far for Casuarina, and it didn't even end in a shot on goal. It was swallowed up before they could capitalise.
Yeah, absolutely correct there, Teo. Such a good player, Dylan Vong, but his first touch has absolutely let him down there. And realistically, it could be Casuarina 2-0. No, just off our shot here. Sorry, just saying, Tay, just off our shot here, we've got Sebastian Smith down with what looks like an injury as well. The trainer's being called on, which is not good if he's down as well. He doesn't stay down, Sebastian Smith.
See their left foot appears to be where the magic spray is going. It's zoomed right in there on the pain point. So as that discussion continues, Casuarina will be encouraged that that latest chance a moment ago for Dylan Vong came as the result of a more patient build-up rather than a long ball. Bit of variety in how they're attacking. Smith will walk to the sideline. Referee Ben Kivett waiting for a decision to be made as to whether or not he can continue from the Casuarina bench. Back underway. Pereira, long throw, straight onto a Mindil head. He was just knocking the ball back and forth to each other. Corey Davis to Dylan Vong. Feigned once and then chops it back in ball. Davis. On the right flank. Pereira. Oh, straight onto the boot of Wakinen. Now he turns onto his left and tries to get it down the channel. Most convincing clearance from Dion Newell, but he hit it to two of his teammates, so most well that ends well. He knew exactly where he wanted it to go. Casemiro trying to use his pace, but it's well defended there.
And as the ball goes out for that throw, Teo, Davron da Costa in number 15 will be replacing Seb Smith. So again, we're back on 11 on 11, but two early changes required due to injury here for Casuarina.
It's a pretty brutal start to the night, having to turn to the bench twice for injury by the 27-minute mark. And yet, they are on the attack. Charles Naidoo, one of those two starters, wins the corner. First of the night now for Casuarina. So corner kick. Driven in at the near post, flicked up to the edge of the box. With ambitious attempts at volley. And then comfortably cleared away by Mindil. Heard the shout hot coming from the crowd on the sidelines as Mindil pressed up. And they win the ball back, not in quite as dangerous a position as they'd initially threatened. But this pass from Clarkinen is going to move them up the pitch. Taiki Kudo attacking the near post. Ludvigsen nearly got there to make it a completed pass. Casuarina defence had the advantage on him. Very nearly allowed him to arrive late. And this time the build-up is intercepted and cleared away. Pereira wheeling onto his right foot, but it's coming back again. Eriku. And the referee whistles for a foul. It's going to be a free kick to Midle. We haven't seen at all in tonight's game central free kicks like this, whether they're in position for a pass or a shot. So almost half an hour. It's actually been quite a well-behaved game in terms of the fouling and the tackles so far, John.
Oh, it's been so quick that no one's had the opportunity to, Tao. And I think that's going to be the ebb and flow of this one. Mindil will look to shift it into overdrive for 5 and 10 minute periods like they did at the start of the game. And then if Casuarina can withstand that, obviously they're dangerous on the counter, but you'll see Gordon Pereira start to play himself in. Obviously he's the metronome of that midfield and look to go back the other way to Rodriguez with then having Mark Casemiro steaming forward onto it. But we look forward to this free kick shot here from Pencho.
3 in the wall from some distance. Pencho is going to load up and never really got it in a threatening way on the target, just to the right. At least as the goalkeeper would have seen it. So, goal kick. Of course, making the most of the FIFA rule change for defenders to come into the penalty area to receive goal kicks now. Means Casuarina are able to link up 5 or 6 passes already to get it to the feet of Pereira. And now down the right side, Casemiro, the fleet feet. It's going to just get dragged, and the assistant referee right on the case over on that other side. Able to see the little grab that sent him to the floor. And it will be a free kick wide on the right.
And that's all it takes. Lee's handled Casemiro so well, but he was just a little bit out of position there and required the help of Reeve, who couldn't help himself but get involved in that and give away a cheap free kick. But he's going to be so dangerous in that wider position, Casemiro. You think that battle with Lee's going to go on all night.
Well, certainly the absence of Lee has been noticeable in this Midle defence through their patchier run of results as they attack the near post here, Casuarina, and it is that man Lee who puts it back out for a throw. He's a welcome return because, as you said off the top, John, they're almost back to their very best 11 now, so I think he's a key part of that.
100%. And you've still got George Karpathios is out for a couple of weeks, who probably played himself into that top centre-half pairing, suspended, and then they've got Zach Kirby back, who's our other central defender, on the bench tonight, so he may see some minutes as well. So it's a good problem to have for Mindil, but Lee's certainly key to their defensive stand.
Beyond half an hour then. Game is ebbed and flowed. Doesn't feel like it's going to be a shootout just yet. Of course, last time they played, Mindil were already 2-0 up. And foul this time going the way of Gordon Pereira. It is noticeable how much less time he's allowed to spend on the ball against a team like Mindil. He really had the ball on a string last week against Darwin. They didn't have anyone really to match up against him. Very different situation tonight as Vong plays it through the left. I do with chasing, but Pencho made a contest. Tanu plays it right back, skimming off heads. Ludvigsen, Parkinen, and Pencho is close to guard. Going to take the quick throw in, setting it out in front of Ludvigsen. He's had Quinlan Tran for company most of the night, and the referee is going to halt his progress here. He was already a little bit sore from the challenge he made to try and win the ball.
That just looked like good, strong body work from my position, Teo, but clearly the referee and linesperson thought it was a little bit too strong.
Pereira trying to turn distributor here, but sails it long, well over the head of Casemiro. after a bit of time to think. Throw it on the right. Stuck in 1-on-2 here, Casemiro, and assistant referee eventually adjudicates in Casuarina's favour. Pereira, first time ball, skimming header. And the goalkeeper was in no man's land, perhaps a little grateful Arlo race, but that wasn't a little bit closer to the left-hand post as it slid out for a goal kick. Hasn't had a great deal to do so far in the game, Arlo race, but he did go in on the feet of Vong earlier in the night to make a good pickup. Charles Eriku. Over on the right side this time, his pass straight onto the head of Tran. Ludvigsen trying to pop it back to him. Succeeds in doing so eventually. Tanu. Clarkinen. Mindil right off with any pressing in their attacking half. Waiting for Casuarina to bring the ball up to halfway. Then they show an interest. Casuarina happy to reset. Go right back to their goalkeeper and probe the left flank instead. Tran. Pereira given away. Eriku can't capitalise. Finland Tran's been more or less passable in this first half. Improving an obstacle for the middle attackers. Not afraid to go backwards, Casuarina, at the moment, John. It seems like they're very happy just to take the sting out of the game and play at a tempo that they prefer.
Yeah, absolutely correct. And they back Dion Newell at the back there and Reza Passmore in centre half to pick the right pass at the right time. So they've got no problems to putting that ball in there, but they could be playing themselves into trouble if they continue it.
Oh, that's a really shaky back pass. It's put an opportunity on a platter for Tanu and a good save to deny him. And now Quarkinen laying it off, and the shot is over the bar. Missed opportunities for Mindil. They almost passed themselves into a stupor there, Casuarina. And eventually it was a shallow back pass that opened the door. And Mindil could not capitalise. John Dean, we watched that unfold before our eyes. We could see it coming perhaps even before the Mindil players did.
Yeah, it's curse of the commentator. I think I put him on them there, but I think still Casuarina will continue. That won't worry them. They'll continue with the same strategy, and hopefully it has a better result for them.
And now again at the edge of the box, goalkeeper committing his body. Real pile up of players going after the ball. Dion Newell trying to get back to his feet, and then back to his haunches and back to the ground. Sore bodies, frustration everywhere, confusion, consternation. The Casuarina players saying, protect our goalkeeper. Chaos breaking loose at the moment, John.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, we saw exactly the same thing last night, actually, in the Port Darwin Azuri game. Both the striker and the goalkeeper have come out for the ball. It was just good, hard football. They've both come off a little bit worse for wear. Hopefully, Dion Newell's okay, but he looks like he's come off a lot worse for wear than Tavian Ludvigsen. But I don't actually see a foul in that personally. Obviously, you don't want anyone to get hurt. You do need to protect keepers, but they both just came hard at the ball to you.
And as Dion Newell lies outside the field of play, of course, one different Casuarina player who's already had an attempt moonlighting in goal this season, Imam Muklas, has already been subbed out of the game, injured himself. So
Yeah,
are they going
absolutely.
to have to raffle
Sorry.
off the goalkeeping gloves here?
Yeah, absolutely, because their other goalkeeper of note is not on the sheet, which is Braden McClellan. He's out suspended currently, so I'm not even sure who would be taking the gloves if Dion can't continue. If I get any idea, I'll let you know, but I feel like this could be an extended break of play as they give him every opportunity to get back on the pitch here, Dion. He's getting treatment down by the trainer, but surely they can't expect the game to continue on with no goalkeeper.
So Magic Spray did not come to the aid of Sebastian Smith earlier in the game. He had to be subbed off too. Casuarina have already lost 2 players tonight. Dion Newell looks like he's going to continue. Whether or not the Magic Spray has completely done the job, we'll have to wait and see next time he gets tested. But he's walking under his own steam so far. And with 5 minutes before half-time, if Casuarina can maintain the clean sheet until then, they will see that as a little mini win in what is becoming a bit of an arm wrestle between the 2 teams. And maybe
Most
fittingly, for the
certainly.
checkered shirts of Casuarina, this is the closest thing I think we get to a chess match within a head-to-head in the Football Northern Territory Premiership. This time it's Johnny Pencho committing the foul on Gordon Pereira. And it's getting a little bit chippy. Have too many words been exchanged with the referee? Johnny Pencho getting a talking to. No cards produced as yet.
Johnny Pencho does have a penchant to be a little bit hot under the collar. Obviously, that coming together with Gordon Pereira's him off. He's trying to get him in and settle him down because he's a habit of flying off the handle when he's away. Don't be surprised if he pick up a yellow between now and half time.
It's amazing how the tone of the game has changed, because for the first 30 minutes, if not 35, it was a game played with a few fouls, an incredibly good spirit. And as you pointed out, John, because the tempo of the game was too quick to worry about anything else, now that players are just starting to slow down at the end of the first half, there's some real feeling starting to establish itself in the game. I wonder if Casuarina, all it takes is the right pass to break the shackles and try to counter-attack, and things could change very quickly here. Right now it's a match being played in Mindil's attacking half. They're completely dictating the game, though. As I do, releasing a run here down the left side. Down their own Goster Hill. Didn't get too far, though. Now, wrong-footed on the back pass. We've already had one tricky back pass tonight. This one is dealt with by Newell. If he called upon here again, is he? No. In the end, twisting and turning Zico Casemiro. And he finds the safety of the touchline after deciding better than to pass it back to his keeper.
There is a little bit of dew on the pitch here, Teo, and obviously not making excuses for him. Back pass of those chances for Mindil are not ones that you'd expect Casuarina to make, but they need to adapt to that here if they're going to continue that passing game, because it's really the best chances Mindil have had have actually come on the back of their own mistakes.
I suspect that Casuarina want half-time to arrive a bit quicker than Mindil do at the moment. 2 more minutes plus any stoppage. We've had a couple of subs for injury, so it may be a bit longer than you normally get at the end of a first half in this competition. Ball down the line for Casuarina. What's your halftime team talking to? You are the Casuarina coach, Zelio Casemiro. Is it really about trying to find ways to get marked Casemiro into the game more and more? Is it even a case of maybe changing his position, getting him to play a bit deeper in midfield so he can get a bit more of a feel for the ball and try to run from deeper positions in the field?
Yeah, I think it's he's already switched over to the left-hand side. They obviously like the look of him up against Tanu rather than against Lee. So they'll be trying to test that out and give him an opportunity.
Long ball here. Oh, and arriving at the far post, it turned out to be a beautifully measured aerial ball, and Corey Davis, he got there, but he sliced his left-footed volley away, and had that hit the back of the net, I no doubt would have been saying that he arrived completely unmarked. Nearly a goal against the run for Casuarina at the end of the half. Mindil have to switch on. Missed it. Drives it high and long. Off the head of Ludvigsen, but the run at the ball is blocked for Tanu. And Charles Naidu making an aerial contest against Corey Davis. Karina encouraged by that close shave a moment ago. Is there one more sting in the tail at the end of this first half? Oh, very risky play. Casemiro came unstuck, and now the ball is at the feet of Mindil. Charles Eriku. Into stoppage we go. Quackinen. Took on one player too many. Ball's going to bend and stay in. Amazing. It had a huge amount of backspin on it, and that's going to invite Mark Casemiro into the action. And he slides it to Rodriguez. Keeper's out. Gets open. It's Rodriguez. And it is the goal for Casuarina. They have struck against the run of play at the end of the first half. Not like there wasn't enough warning for Mindil, but they will go into the rooms absolutely steaming. And it's all thanks to a bit of warning-like spin against the sideline. The ball pitched in the ground. It looked for all money like it was going out for a throw, and it bent back into the path almost as if willed by force by Mark Casemiro. He gets the assist. And John Dean, what on earth just happened at the end of this first half?
No, as I said to you, Teo, they liked the matchup with switching Mark Casemiro from the right-hand side over to the left. They obviously thought they had the pace to go with who, and as you saw there, he drove there, the ball came through, which then meant he could get it through to Rodriguez, who showed really good wheels to get there before Olo race and pick the ball up. And, obviously, well done either the coaching staff or the Casuarina players to spot that and have a go. Certainly, they'll feel like they've got something to play with now, Casuarina, because certainly they're their backs to the wall here in the first half with those injuries. But it also got tasty. I'm not sure if we picked it up, but they came off celebrating right in front of the Mindil bench and the Mindil supporters. So there's some feeling in this one, Teo, as we head into half-time.
Well, the Casuarina curse is alive and well. Mindil, can they finally beat them? Right now, it's half-time and Casuarina leads 1-0. Don't go anywhere. Even if you're new to the Football Northern Territory Men's Premier Division, it is rivalry night, and the second half will follow the halftime show. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Half-time here Saturday night, Premier League football in Darwin in the Northern Territory in the fabulous continent of Australia. If you're watching anywhere around the country or outside the country on the Perform Network, thank you for joining us, whatever device you may be on. I hope you've really enjoyed that. As a neutral, John Dean, I really enjoyed that game. I don't know if they can see the North Crest scoreboard behind us, but it's a slender lead to Casuarina on the counter, as you suggested earlier. What did you see in that first half that made you happy about Casuarina's second half performance?
Oh, the way that they hung in, Bruce.
Yeah.
The first 15 minutes, Mindil came out absolutely swinging. The pace of this game has got to be 2, if not 3 times faster than what we saw at 4 o'clock. It was a really high tempo.
Yes, and it's 3 times lower in temperature.
Absolutely. But, Mindil were on top. They were bossing field position. They were bossing possession. And Casuarina just hung in, and then they started to work themselves in. Obviously, they had some injuries, which put their backs even further up against the wall, but they stuck to their game plan, and they got their just rewards at the end.
I was looking over my right shoulder then, I do apologise for that, but I was just seeing how Mindil are taking the half-time. They'll be disappointed because they had opportunities, as did Casuarina, but they had two really excellent opportunities. And as you know, at this level, if you don't take them, they will regret this at 90+.
Oh, 100%. And Casuarina, probably outside of the goal, have had the 2 best opportunities in the game, and unfortunately, Muklis was unable to finish his, and Dylan Vong's first touch let him down as well.
Off.
Yeah, so
in doing it.
Hopefully he's all right, Muklis.
Well, he looks okay. 2 to 3 weeks, he's saying. As he's a doctor as well.
Yeah, of course he is.
Yeah, listen, just before we get to about what you expect to see in the second half, I want to quickly talk about any young girl or boy who wants to be a goalkeeper. You can learn a lot by watching Dean Newell in the Casuarina take the role of being an organiser from the back. A lot of keepers are told to talk and to convey messages and so on to the players, but if you look at how he does it, he's fantastic at mobilising and manoeuvring the players around from set pieces and beyond. He's really, really good at it. So if you're a young one and you're already a goalkeeper, you want to be a goalkeeper, you can learn a lot from Dean Newell watching him tonight.
Oh, most certainly, and it gives his back 4, or even the back 5 in front of him, a lot of confidence when he does that. And the other key to his game is confidence, Bruce. You know, we saw he had a cheap turnover for a goal against Azuri midweek. He kept his head up and kept going. Yeah. And then in tonight, you know, they could have led to 2 goals to Mindil from mistakes in back passes to or around him. Yep. But he kept his head up and he kept going forward. And in the end, you know, his releases are part of the reason that Casuarina is able to play on the break the way that they do.
And another player I want to talk about, it's on the Casuarina side again, but Charles Adu has come on as a first sub, actually, onto the field for Casuarina. Only a boy, he's like 15. We're still trying to work out his visa, but we see a lot of talent in him. What have you seen of him tonight playing his first, pretty much full game of Men's Premier League?
Yeah, certainly. His response has been fantastic. You know, he wouldn't have expected to come on in that situation.
No.
And certainly, it's probably the most intense game that he would have been involved in, the level that Mindil were playing at. And he responded brilliantly. He didn't look out of place out there.
No.
He was assured with his touches. He was trying to link up. And most importantly, the measure of it was Casuarina didn't have to change their game plan when he came on.
Yep.
So that's what you want from a young kid coming on as a substitute in that sort of position, Bruce. He's acquitted himself really well in the first half and hopefully keeps it up.
Yeah, well put. Okay, now listen, particularly with Mindil, they've had a few new faces out there. He's starting to get some players back, which is great. He's still got a centre-back to come back who's on suspension at the moment. Where do you see them at the moment? I mean, they're holding second place. If they win this one tonight, they'll jump ahead, I think. Yes, they will. So how do you see them in their second half and what way you would expect them to approach that game?
Well, they'll be really disappointed going in 1-0 down, obviously, because they were the better team in the first half, Bruce. They created some opportunities through turnovers and mistakes at the back. So it'll be more of the same from Daniel, and then not to get involved in the messy stuff. You know, Teo and I talked about it in the call. The first 25-30 minutes was so clean because it was so quick. And as the game slowed down there, you saw, you know, between Pencho and Gordon Pereira, it got a little bit testy in there. Pereira's a wily old fox. He'll know to get under the skin of Pencho now and try and get him in trouble, and McCormack's going to have to calm that down. But from them, you want to get back to the game plan and then just take those opportunities because their results are probably masked a little bit of indifferent form. You know, they've been out the top of the league, but their results haven't been brilliant in getting those wins. And you felt like last week against Port Darwin, they got their mojo back, they got their swagger back, but this meant a lot to them because they've not knocked Casuarina off. They obviously got done in the grand final last year. They blew up a lead the last time they've played. This really means something, and you can see it means something for both sides in the way that Mark Casemiro came and celebrated that goal in front of the Mindil fans. So for Mindil, it's about getting back to what we did at the beginning in that first 15-20 minutes, because particularly the situation that Casuarina is with their injuries, they should be able to run over the top of them, and they've got to back themselves to do that.
Look, I think it's key to talk about whether or not Mindil can still get to the second position, get to top position and play in different form. I think if you look at any, and you've been involved as I have, with when you've had success in football over a year, over 2 years or 3 years, and you've won things, you've often had periods where you've won games you shouldn't have, and there's been games where you've just got a draw when you really should have lost. So they're going through that patch. I see a lot of promise in them, and I think one of the players that really impressed me tonight was the Japanese superstar, the young Tiki. So he's just everywhere. His energy and his dynamism is really what you need in a side like that. And they seem to play with 10 to 15 minutes of a real burst and fire, and then they release and sat back. And is that how you saw it?
Absolutely, Bruce. And we talked about it in the call. They seem to have this ability, Mindil, as you spoke about, number one, to win games when they're not playing well, and that's just kind of a good team. But they would put it into fifth gear. They'd get into overdrive, and they'd really drive the speed of the game, and then they're able to back it back off again. And then they could bring it up a second time, which is the mark of a real class side. So let's see how many more times they can do that in that second half, because if they do, I don't think that Casuarina is going to have the legs to go with them.
Let's see. Next 45 minutes is not far away. Thank you for joining us. This is Saturday Night Football here in Darwin. It's the Men's Premier League. It's round 11, and it's a very slender but important 1-0 advantage to Casuarina over Mindil Aces. We'll see what Mindil can do. We'll see whether John's predictions are right and Mindil can get back into this and see if Casuarina can stay with them. My name is Bruce Stalder. This is John Dean. You're on our FNT TV channels, also on Perform. Thank you for your support. We'll be back shortly with the second half of this Men's Premier League match here in Darwin.
All in readiness then at the start of the second half. And as we kick off, Mindil trailing 1-0 to Casuarina, attacking the left of your screens. What does the second half have in store? Only goal of the game so far. Scored in first half stoppage time by Luis Rodriguez. Casuarina had to make 2 subs due to injuries in that first half though. Charles Haidu and Daverone da Costa Hill both subbed into the game. Imam Muklas with a hamstring strain, and then Sebastian Smith with what looked like an ankle injury. Both had to leave the match in that first half. However, they also have the only goal. And it is a goal that they absolutely need. As things stand on the live table, Hellenic would be 27 points, Midle 25, and Casuarina would move up to 20. And that would return them to the discussion for a top of the table finish. If they had lost tonight, might have left them just a bit too far back. Would have been 11 and 10 points respectively behind the top 2. Now it could be as few as 5. High stakes. As we see the pass here from Mario Kwakanen into the middle of the pitch. Taiki Kudo, the 43-year-old ageist wonder, rides a challenge. And as the ball runs out, John Dean rejoins us after the halftime show. And John, some of that feeling that the teams took into the rooms, are we expecting that to continue here in the second half? Haven't quite got John Dean back just yet. We will hear from him soon. Free kick for Gordon Pereira in the meantime. And the dead ball is where he really can fashion dangerous chances. And this one attacking the near post. Casemiro's quick, but he wasn't able to quite get there to make it work.
Apologies for those technical difficulties there, Teo. I was just saying, yeah, it's definitely still tetchy out there. We haven't seen the challengers flying in just yet, but
The treatment looked like it may be game ending. Doesn't appear to have hampered him ever since he received the magic spray.
He is still limping in back play. He's a little bit ginger, but doesn't need to release but certainly I think he'll be a sore and sorry boy tomorrow.
So we see a foul here. One thing I did want to ask about, John, everyone has to play the midweek games. We've now completed round 19, staggered through 3 different midweeks. That wrapped up on Tuesday night with Casuarina's 3-2 loss to Uni Atsuri. Previously, we'd had the 2-2 draw between Port and Hellenic, which was, again, another very memorable game and a far more conventional 2-0 win for Mindil against Darwin Hearts. But that rolls on, and we've got another round of midweek games again. Just how challenging is it, given people's full-time jobs and the amateur status of the competition, in order to shuffle the pack and try to get as many players available as possible for a game that is worth 3 points like any other?
It's a challenge for all the sides, and they all deal with it differently. And then you add into that, the social calendar and whatnot. It was Darwin Cup Day on the Monday that Casuarina had to back up on the Tuesday against the Zuri. So there was players out, long weekends, etc. It's difficult, and it sorts out the men from the boys, so to speak. Casuarina probably have the most difficult of those runs because they just played round 19 this week, and then they're rolling into round 20 next week with a replay of this match that we're seeing tonight. So they've got those 4 games in 11 days or whatever it is. But that's each coach is managing it differently. We saw with Darwin Hearts, they played a very understrength side in their second match against Mindil a week ago. Whereas other sides are playing at it and obviously working out what they can do to play their best strength sides most often. So it's going to be an interesting 3-week period to see where everyone ends up.
John Dean with us in special comments at the stadium in Darwin tonight. 5 minutes of the second half gone so far. No great opportunities for Mindil to score an equaliser. Just on Darwin Hearts, I mean, my impressions of them, having commentated a couple of their games and watched the footage streams of the others, is that they remain a team that is committed to being very difficult to beat, but as soon as you take the lead against them, you will beat them. And Hellenic being the top team, 3-0 today, not a surprising score by any stretch, but it only stands out to the extent that they've normally only ever lost by the odd goal, and they have been very competitive and just very tough to break down for the most part.
Absolutely, and it's a focus of theirs this year is to try and get better in that last half hour, which is where they're losing most games and then falling away quite rapidly. Stepping up from the 3rd division to the 1st is obviously a big step, and they're trying to make that in one season, and their coach Damon's really trying to work on that last half hour.
Here comes a corner for Mindil, but that's a convincing hold, and the first time we've seen Dion Newell have to get off the ground in this second half. Casuarina just rolling the ball on a little bit too quickly there, but they still get a throw for their trouble. If you weren't with us in the first half, John Dean mentioning mid to high 20s at kickoff after a top in the 30s during the day. If you're watching from elsewhere around Australia at the moment, or around the world. Getting an impression for Darwin. We're going to have our first booking of the game, and it's for time wasting. Referee Ben Kivett, quick to act here. And Zico Casemiro is the first player to go in the referee's book. If I'm not mistaken there, he did issue the card from some way away. Now what's happening? More of a blow-up about time wasting.
He hadn't written it down in his book yet, the referee. And so he had to do that and then retake the throw, but it's getting testy out there. As you've just seen there.
Well, you met Johnny Pencho and see Christopher Reinberg there. You got to be careful. I mean, that was a very gentle throw, but some refs will produce cards for that as well. And the gamesmanship, Mindil need to keep their heads here. It feels as though Casuarina are the antagonists and Mindil are taking the bait a little bit at the moment, John, if I read the situation correctly.
They haven't taken it a little bit, Taya. They've taken a hook, line and sinker, and they'll do well here to spit it back out, to be honest.
Lee. Now Reinberg, as the red mist lifted from in front of his eyes as he plays a pass back to his goalkeeper, Race. Marlo Race switches flanks over to the right side. Good pass by him, and it's got them in the van and moving down the right side. Eriku. It's been a quieter night by his standards. Ludvigsen lunged in, couldn't connect, and a corner coming up. First time shot there from Mifsud, taking a deflection and hitting the side netting. That was a beautiful flowing move from Mindil end to end.
Yeah, certainly Reinberg took that first time shot on, and I think it was on target if it didn't have the deflection. So hopefully they can play themselves back into the game here.
Corner kick, Reinberg lifting it right to the far post. Bit of a scrap. Casuarina had numbers lined up. Most of their team inside the defensive penalty area here. Mindil trying to thread the eye of the needle. They can't do so. And Charles Aidu just clips the ball away. Rodriguez, the one holdout ahead of the ball, the goal scorer as well. Almost 10 minutes of this second half gone. It is starting now to resemble the opening of the game, which was at breakneck speed. We've warmed up to it here in the second half. Game with so much on the line. Casuarina playing effectively for the chance to stay in the race to win the title and finish first, rather than simply qualify for the top four. Long ball. Reinberg. Could have gone to ground there. Just had Zico Casemiro potentially cut across the back of his legs. Did the honest thing, kept his feet. Play continues. Long ball for Casuarina. Could be a costly giveaway. Kudo. Now Ludvigsen, he gets a look at the target and honing in on the near post. Goalkeeper had his angles covered, saved by Newell. Now Aidu. He has absolutely given a great argument to be a starting 11 player on his showing since coming on as a forced injury sub early in the first half. Came on for Imam Muklas. He's been heavily involved ever since. Network of passes. Pereira, foul. Play restarted by Mindil. Ludvigsen flat-footed as he watches the ball go past him here. Chance for everyone to take a breather at the feet of Dejan Newell. This game has really got some great competitive tension to it at the moment. Who will score next? That is the burning question. It's such an attacking league. There's always another goal in any given game. Davis. Foul here. going to go Mindil's way, and referee just raising his hand to give back a shin guard. I was wondering, it's a very strange looking card. That's because it wasn't, it's because it was a shin guard. And it has been returned to Lee, and in the meantime, Casemiro has picked the pocket of Reeve, and then Reeve goes back and makes amends. And all happening while Lee was putting his shin guard back in his sock. Wow, that would have been a bizarre highlight had that ended up in the back of the net. And then another foul. John Dean, that would have been chaos had Casemiro run in and scored there.
Oh, 100%. You know, and that's, I guess, what you get for letting the play go on. You know, you've got to keep your eye on the ball. I would have worried about the shin guard later, but they took the odds to it and ended up a little bit worse for wear, but no harm, no foul, because it didn't go in the back of the net.
Raking long ball from Newell here. Ball currently pinging around end to end. You can see Mindil chasing, pressing, trying to force a turnover inside their attacking half. Casuarina play through it on this occasion. Tran turns, and not unlike numerous occasions in the first half, is happy just to use his goalkeeper. Send the ball back in order to switch flanks and probe forward down the opposite side. Ball gets left behind briefly by Reinberg. Lee, trot on the ball. I do. In comes Quackinen. And he was fouled. Good use to the body by Ludvigsen. It's a long way from goal though, which is where he would want to be setting up. Tangle of legs, I do. Slide challenge, Quackinen. And the referee's whistle says it's going to be Midle ball. Casuarina protest as well. John Dean, you be the ref.
Well, I thought he was on the ground there, Teo, when he made that challenge, but clearly the referee's seen that a little bit differently. But both boxes are, both technical areas are out, up in arms around this. So you feel it's only going to get worse, and it could flare up at any moment here, Teo.
Long ball into the area. Newell off the tips of his fingers, and he was body checked. Oh, and there's afters. There's afters, and this could end in cards. Looked like he leapt onto Ludvigsen and really took exception to how he was challenged in the air. Thankfully, cooler heads have prevailed, and it's not escalating into more. John Dean, you've proven to be the oracle on this occasion, because you did say it was going to flare up at any given moment, and after the very next phase of play, we've had goalkeeper and striker come together challenging for the ball and then come together after. And the eyewitness account of Eric Zyra, the assistant referee here, could be crucial to what happens next.
Absolutely. And look, it didn't look like anything more than a common foul with Ludvigsen's challenge, but Jan Newell definitely leapt at him. So I think he could be in a little bit of trouble. And he is. That's a red, Teo. So he's off.
Extraordinary. Jan Newell, as he boots the ball away, well, however many games he was going to miss as a result of the red card, there might be another one tacked on for that display. And it's a real shame, given what a good goalkeeper he is. You want to see the best players play, and he's going to be missing some time. And even though they had plenty of time to think about it in the first half when he was potentially injured, now Casuarina do have to decide who will go in goal. John Dean, how are they going to orchestrate this?
I'm suggesting it's Reza Passmore. Will probably get in there. He plays that defensive role anyway, and he appears to be taking his shirt off now as he sort of walks out of our shot here. So I expect he'll go in goal. And I'm not exactly sure who'll drop into his centre-half position, but that we'll shortly see how they line up.
Well, if Mindil can't win from here, then you may just have to suggest that the curse is absolutely real. Outfielder goes into goal with the best part of half an hour remaining. They're down to 10 men, and they already had to burn 2 subs due to injury in the first half.
But for those not familiar with the Darwin Men's Premier League, there's one thing that Casuarina love is their backs to the wall in an impossible situation. So this will be an all-out onslaught from Mindil for the next half an hour, but Casuarina will wrap this up and love it. So I think it's going to make for a fantastic Saturday evening watching.
If you're Daniel McCormick, how do you keep your team from getting too emotionally invested and potentially getting carried away with how circumstances have now changed in their favour, and understanding that you still actually have to put the ball in the net? It won't just end up in there for you.
I think they've got to focus on trying to run this Casuarina team around and tire them out. They don't have to score in the first 5 minutes of this situation. They've got the whole half an hour because Casuarina, as I said before, it's not just Gordon Pereira. They're wily old foxes. They're going to give away fouls. They're going to take their time with all the throw-ins, all the goal kicks. They're going to get under Mindil's skin. And if they bite into this emotionally, then they're going to frustrate themselves and make poor decisions. And that's going to play right into Casuarina's hands. So Daniel McCormack needs to get their team moving Casuarina around to play it to their strength.
And it's worth remembering that they'd already had a player booked when it was 11 versus 11. So if that wasn't already indicative of what's to come, be ready for more. Free kick, Mindil, 6-yard box, flick header, and out for a goal kick. And just take note that it went out for the goal kick at 63:37. We'll see exactly how many seconds they can milk off the clock before Mindil start to harass the referee and say, get the ball back in play. And I think there's also an element of you have to be smart about how you attack if you're Mindil as well. You want to avoid hugging the touchline. You want to avoid giving away numerous numbers of offsides or goal kicks, because every time the ball goes dead, it's going to go dead for a little bit longer than it normally would.
You're absolutely right. And, you know, Casuarina, I think the way they're setting up, they've still got their two-pronged attack up top in Luis Rodriguez and Mark Casemiro. They're just conceding the 2 channels and saying, we'll just play you direct and see if we can take you on 2-on-3 at Mindil's defensive end. So the positive thing in the situation that Casuarina find themselves in right now is their bench, all that's left is quality defenders, and they do have some quality on there if they need to call on reinforcements from a defensive point of view. So, you know, that's the one card they do have up their sleeve at this point.
Ball is out on the right. How many minutes has Kane McDowell got in him tonight, do you think, John? Because he is one of those unused subs that could yet enter the game.
He played 20-odd last week. I expect he's probably going to get something similar tonight. It'll be interesting to see because there's plenty of goal scorers on that bench. Obviously, Kane's the main prong of the attack that could get in there and move that around, but I'm not sure which way Daniel McCormack's going to go with his substitutions at this point.
From the right side, Tran didn't get good purchase on the attempted clearance, and Reinberg once, twice, swiping at the ball, couldn't connect with the shot. This time Tran does get his clearance away, but to no one in particular. Mifsud trying to return it with interest. Numbers at the far post. Who does it fall to? A left-footed shot. And cleared away. It was Mario Kwakinen trying to steer it through the traffic. Now counter-attack. I tell you what, if Casuarina can score down to 10 men, that really would be something, and there's going to be a card. However, who's it been shown to? Was it to the defender for stopping the counter, or for Mark Casemiro for the way he verbalised his displeasure at the referee?
No, it was definitely for Mifsud. He knew exactly what he was doing there, caught out of position, Mark Casemiro had too good of wheels for him, and he's just tugged him back there, and the yellow card shown to him. So he'll need to be careful, because that's going to keep coming over the top every time Casuarina can win the ball back off Mindil.
Well, it really would be something if they find a way to go coast to coast. They've committed a surprising number of players forward here for this free kick. Gordon Pereira. And it is almost flashing through. Scramble in the 6-yard box. Turned in. It is 2. Extraordinary. And Mark Casemiro puts his hand up to his ear and says, I'm all ears for what you have to say now. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
10-man Casuarina have gone 2-0 up.
For those watching at home, that celebration was right in front of the Mindil supporters, asking where they are now. And I can tell you the Casuarina bench has gone absolutely wild as well. So don't tell me there's no feeling in this one. They're calling for Kane McDowell to come on now. Casuarina, they want Mindil to step it up. So this is going to be a fantastic 23 minutes that we've got left.
Well, this is crazy. They've scored while down 10 men. It was really their first trip into the attacking half since the red card to their goalkeeper. But now they've doubled their lead. It was a moment that the Mindle defence would quite simply love to have back. Bending ball into the area here. And the outfielder in goal, Reza Passmore, yet to be meaningfully tested. Talk us through what the scramble was there. Casemiro is the sort of streetwise customer that's always going to anticipate where the ball falls. And I think really that once it didn't end up in the goalkeeper's hands, it was always going to be red alert.
Yeah, there was a little flick on too from the kick there. I wasn't sure if it was Rodriguez or Casemiro that got that flick, but that meant that it was really difficult for Arlo Race to take cleanly. He couldn't, didn't parry it to his own advantage, and it's fallen. And Casemiro's a poacher. He was there. He knew exactly what was going to fall, and he took it all. And whilst we're talking through this, there's been 2 changes made. I can tell you McDowell is on. And I'll talk you through the others as soon as I can get some team sheets in front of me, but 2 changes for Mindil.
So Mindil pulling the levers now on trying to go for it. We urged patience when the red card happened. Well, now they're going to have to speed it up, and could this be one of the goals back? No, cleared off the line. Out for a corner. Casuarina.
Sorry there, so it's Zach Kirby, number 13, that's come on for Matthew Mifsud, and Reinberg is the one that's came off for Kane McDowell to come on.
So Kirby and McDowell come on. Corner kick. In at the near post and headed away by Gordon Pereira. "20 minutes to go. It might be a long, long 20 minutes. So that's good hands from Reza Passmore. He holds on. And holding on, well, we suggested that's what Casuarina were going to do, and then they went and scored. So who knows what twists and turns this game may yet take. Oh, committed stuff, and looks like there's an injury for Lee. He stays down. And the referee is going to whistle play dead. Right in front of the Mindle bench too.
If the physio won't have far to travel to see the young Lee, but he looks in some pain here, Teo.
Midle having just made that double change. And he's going to crawl over the touchline. In the meantime, a sub's been walked up to the sidelines. Jacob Leonard potentially coming on here for Casuarina. And I'm surprised by this. It is Mark Casemiro who's coming off. What's the thinking here?
I think they've decided that 2 goals is enough for them to lead by. They've put Leonard on there, who is a noted defender, to try and be able to more of assist them going backwards and as a target man going out. And Mindle have also made the change there. Lee will be coming off, and he's been replaced by Nick Concionis going on in the midfield.
So 3 subs made very quickly by Mindle. Means they've now made the same number as Casuarina, who still have Ryan Newell and Curtis Smith available on their bench. This is Kane McDowell. Scrap for possession over on the touchline. McDowell sliding in but can't take the ball. Eriku challenging as well. It's been an uncharacteristically quiet performance from Charles Eriku tonight. Normally a lot more involved in an attacking sense. High diagonal ball from Mindil. This is the chance for Eriku to show us what he can do. Isolated one-on-one. Attempted pass at the Casuarina defender. Now it's 2-on-1. Shouts for handball. And it's just going to be a corner. Didn't have too many teammates go up with him in appeal. Looked as though it did strike the arm, but at that close range, it wasn't considered to be worthy of a penalty kick. A corner instead. High into the pack of players and skimming off the head of the Mindle man. It's out for a goal kick. Taiki Kudo at the fall of the ball. That pass, not sure exactly what Concionis was attempting to do. Maybe he was trying to hit it on the outside of his right foot as he drove it along the line rather than straight out, which is what ended up happening.
He's dropped into that left back position, which is not his usual position, Concionis, but certainly that errant pass there has just added to the frustration of his team. It's starting to get tetchy between the middle players, and you know their senior players have got to calm this down here. They've brought right into Casuarina's trap.
Play back underway. Low pass is going to be flicked on. Now facing the target, McDowell. Looks heavy-handed, but the referee allows play to continue. Volleyed on. Ludvigsen running from behind, though, and not using the keeper this time. Casuarina defends. Dylan Vong just pops it straight out for a throw. Mindil quick to take. McDowell. Edge of the box. Oh, he had the ball nicked off his toes. He went to ground. It would have just been inside the penalty area, but a legal challenge. 15 minutes to go. Casuarina 2-0 up, but down to 10 men with an outfielder in goals. Eriku. In comes the cross. And it's in. It was a tentative little stab shot, but Ludvigsen was able to steer it into the back of the net, and that is the hope for Mindil. Really looked more like an instant, dare I even say, knee-jerk sort of reaction. He just stuck out his foot and prodded it at a loose ball, but he had the touch to guide it into the corner.
Yeah,
even though it's come about more by accident than design, they're back in it, John.
Yeah, sorry, Taylor, I was going to cut you off there. It was finesse finish, but yeah, I think he was just putting that in an area, trying to get it in the general direction of the goal, and it ended up into the back of the net for him for his 10th of the season. So well done to the young man, and that makes it very exciting for this last 15 minutes here. But what we're going to see here is a change from both sides. So we've seen the end of the night for Taiki Kudo. He's come from the pitch, and for Mindil, Cole McGowan has entered. Or for Casuarina, we've seen Newell come onto the pitch, not Diane, obviously, Ryan. And that was the end of the night for Corey Davis. So emptying the benches nearly both sides, and security's been called to the far side of the pitch as well. So spectators are in this one as much as the players here.
So still a long way from home, Casuarina. They lead 2-1 now. Mindil, I think just the mental state will change so much now that they've broken through once. The seemingly invisible force field in front of the goal no longer exists. And if they score here, you'd fancy them going on with the job and completing the comeback. And let's not forget, it was Mindil who led 2-0, only to lose 3-2 when they last played Casuarina. 4 in the wall. Here's the free kick. And that one is high into the night sky. Much anticipated, but a disappointing end result. Good touch out of the air. Eriku challenging. Ryan Newell couldn't keep the ball at his feet. McDowell. Now Colm McGowan. He's got a man on the overlap, and that's Nick Concianis. He wants to use his right foot. McGowan. Deflected cross. Ludvigsen has already scored once. Awkward situation to deal with. Big Falcon. Ball volleyed up into the face of the player. But it's a live ball and play continues. Kirby. Mindil owning possession at the moment. Working Casuarina from side to side. It's exactly what they would have wanted as 11 versus 10. Stretch them and find a gap. And the whistle goes. Free kick. Going the way of Casuarina.
It was Johnny Pencho that wore that one in the face from very close range, and I can tell you he's got a massive red mark on there. He'll be feeling that one tomorrow, but he looks up and around and ready to carry on as Casuarina milk all the time in the world with his free kick.
They only got the one available sub remaining, Javier Prigic.
Yeah, correct. Prigic is a noted goal scorer for Mindil, and Casuarina will be shortly rolling the dice on their last sub, which is Curtis Smith. Again, a fantastic midfielder, great defender. I'll get him in there to shore up their defence as tiring legs. They might look to sacrifice Rodriguez and say 2's definitely enough. We'll just defend these last 10 minutes.
So here is that sub, and the first goal scorer of the night, Luis Rodriguez, found the net in first half stoppage time. It felt so against the run of play back when that ball hit the back of the net. How the game has developed through the second half. He leaves the game. Curtis Smith comes on. That's all 5 changes now made by 10-man Casuarina. Pereira, free kick. Rears up at the edge of the 6-yard box. Curtis Smith straight into the action. First involvement. Can't free the feet. Going on the right side. Inside the final 10 minutes then. What a 10 minutes it promises to be. Season shaping, not just these two teams, but up and down the table as well, given the massive ramifications of Casuarina win and what was at stake if they do get overrun and get beaten here tonight. Consiano. Ball from Pencho. Can't quite beat Eriku. Out it goes for a goal kick. And now we've got a player down. Shin guard comes out. Cramp. And the dark arts of time wasting are being done right before our eyes here, John.
Well, he needs to be very careful with it because it's Zico Casemiro, and Zico Casemiro is already on a yellow card, so he probably needs to get somebody else to do it. And while he's doing that, I can tell you that Prigic has come on at the expense of Tanu, so both benches have been emptied.
There it is. 7.5 minutes from the 90 being completed. Prigic comes on. And that cramp cleared up very quickly for Zico Casemiro, as you say, John, perhaps remembering that he was on a booking. Already booked for time wasting back when it was 11 versus 11. Consianos works it back. Kirby sending it out to the right. They got numbers in the box here to aim for. Mindil, it's a looping cross, and in the end, Passmore is able to field it on his chest. Didn't have to stretch the arms out above the head to catch that one. He runs up and just, with a little dink away, still gets it to the halfway line. Curtis Smith. How early do they take it down to the corner flag? Decision time for Jacob Leonard. And he decides to engage in some judo and win a free kick.
I think that's answered your question, Teo. Yeah, 84th minutes when they start heading to the corner, clearly, there was no options in the middle to hit anyway in terms of taking it to goal, but Casuarina clearly content to draw fouls and see this one out.
So do they play this one down to the corner as well, or do they at least put it into the box?
No, definitely take this one on. They just had great success. Why not try it again?
Edge of the 6-yard box. Oh, and it nearly flashed in. And that would have been good night. Amazing. Good call by you, John. Very nearly made it 3-1.
And that's the sacrifice, I guess, when you take a predator like Mark Casemiro off. You just feel if he was still on the pitch, he probably puts that one to bed there, and it's 3-1, shut the gates.
Instead, Mindil can still hope to equalise, perhaps even to win. The sooner they score, the more time they've got to go and lay siege to try and complete the comeback all the way. As it stands, 5 minutes of regulation. Who knows how much stoppage at the end of this one. We had Casuarina beaten in stoppage time during the week by Uni Atsuri. Will they fall to something similar here? Mindle players treading on each other's toes. Eventually the ball spills loose, but they had to go backwards to go forwards. Pencho moving it central. And now a pass that is going to be met at the byline and kept in initially, and then eventually it rolls wrong side of the corner flag. Out for a goal kick. Just too firmly struck there in the end. Again, each second that ticks off the clock moves Casuarina 1 second closer to what would be a famous backs to the wall win. 4 minutes plus stoppage to go now. That sinking feeling for Mindil. Surely it's not going to happen again. Eriku. Left-footed cross, needs work at the fall of the ball. That work was being done by Johnny Pencho. It's another up and under there to be won. McDowell, oh, he's able to charge down that attempted clearance from Idu. Concionis. They work side to side again, but they're not getting any closer to goal, and that is good defending from the front by Casuarina. Couple of numbers committed to break forward there. Ball got stuck in midfield in the meantime, and it is going to be a throw into the team in front. Now Mindil ball. Time to go. You've got to get it down and into the danger area. Got to create some panic for Reza Passmore, the outfielder standing in goals. That pass from Race goes out for a throw. Oh, it's death by 1,000 cuts at the moment for Mindil.
They did not need that. Obviously, with so many Casuarina players not in the area, one, it's a horrible error, but there'll be 20 or 30 seconds taken for this throw-in as well.
Down to the corner they go. Mindil need to win the ball back with as little time wound off as possible. They don't want to concede a third here. I do. Deflected shot. Goalkeeper's ball. And now a bit of open space to break into, but they just go and donate the ball straight back. Gordon Pereira runs out of real estate against the sideline. Quickly turns to try to run back to position. Mindil trying to go direct in the meantime. Ludvigsen. His goal got them back in with a shout. He's in a 1-on-2 and corner kick. He can't dawdle here. They've got to get over and take it. They've got to swing it into the box. If they score here, you wouldn't bet against them going on to grab a winner.
Well, it's all or nothing, Tayo. There's nobody forward for Casuarina. Everybody's in the box. So you've got to wonder why Mindil don't put everybody forward on this one and take the risk.
Corner to the far post, back into the 6-yard box. Ludvigsen rose, and there is the equaliser. And there is still time for Midle to try and go on and win it. 2-2 then in the very last minute of regulation. And they get their equaliser. And now Casuarina have to batten down the hatches because Mindil will be going to win it. John Dean, I'm crediting Ludvigsen. It's interesting someone else get a touch before it finally willed over the line.
No, I think it was Ludvigsen as well. It was an ugly finish. He hit it from about half the yard out, but credit him. That's two very, very important goals for his side tonight and his 11th of the season.
And now down in the corner, free kick for Casuarina. And well, one plot twist I didn't factor in is if they come up and score themselves here and win it 3-2.
Given they conceded an injury... Oh, sorry, Tayo, because given they conceded an injury time goal on Tuesday night, I think it's only fair that they get one themselves here, so there could be another twist in the tail yet.
I'm not sure this would have even entered Mindil's thinking after they scored the equaliser. They're going to opt for a left-footed taker. Casuarina trying to win a game, having led 2-0. And straight into the wall, anti-climax, but time off the clock. Time that Mindil don't get to continue attempting to win the game. Ball is cleared. This is it. Eriku free as a bird in the middle. Pencho, can he get the ball to him? No, it's well defended. He tried to bend a pass into his path. That was a great chance for Mindil. Foul in midfield, and this will allow Casuarina to get some numbers back. Yellow card as well for Charles Idu. So big pack of players. Just a reminder that there is an outfielder in goal, so it's going to be that much more difficult to let the keeper command in this situation. This is it. Can Mindil win it? It falls on the head of Tran. Follow-up shot blazed high, 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 high. And that will take us up to 2 minutes of stoppage ticked over. Casuarina aren't safe yet. A draw isn't a great result for them. They needed to win tonight to bridge that gap to the top two. Back underway. Mindil racing, trying to win it. Casuarina, the element of surprise perhaps. No. Midle ball. Space here for Pencho. Then he gets closed down. Wriggles free. Eriku. And the touch just ran way out in front of him. Tran came across, defended it well. Finds a teammate with his pass to boot. Curtis Smith gets it away. Long ball. Headed down. Almost 3 minutes of stoppage ticked by. Referee looks at the watch. Backwards is not the way to go. Mindil running out of time. And headed away from the edge of the box once again. Ref looks at the watch again. Mindil deep in attack though. No time to breathe. Just keep willing the ball forward. McDowell does so. And then the spin. The cutback. Ludvigsen. Oh, it bent the wrong way. Eriku. He's going to keep it alive. He's going to chase it down, but he's not going to find a teammate. And Ryan Newell, his clearance brings on the full-time whistle, and it's 2-2 at the close. Mindil only had a couple of half chances to try and pinch a third. And the rivalry between these two teams adds another fascinating chapter. Casuarina hold on to a 2-2 draw. They were 2-0 up against the run of play after their goalkeeper, Dejan Newell, got himself sent off. And then Mindil scored 2 goals, one in the 76th through Ludvigsen, another in the 90th minute. And that's after Luis Rodriguez in the first half and Mark Casemiro on 68 minutes had put them in the box seat. But it finishes round 11 action. Mindil Aces 2, Casuarina 2. Stick around for John Dean and Bruce Stalder with the post-game show. On behalf of John and our broadcast partner, Sportscast Australia tonight, thank you for your company. My name's Teo Pellizzeri. Stay with us for the post-game show. More good entertainment on the way.
Wow. Just one word, wow. That was a game, 90 minutes plus, which had everything. And a scoreline you dream about as a neutral. 2-2 in the end. We've got Taiki with us. Taik, that was an extraordinary game of football. What did it feel like being in the centre of all of that?
It was a hard game, tough game.
Yeah.
Tough game it is.
Did you feel that at any stage you had their advantage? You were over them at all? Did you feel that at any time in the game?
Well, the first half, we felt mistakes and they get behind a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take a breath.
Yeah.
You ran a few Ks. I'm just doing it's around 11 or 12, but that's in the first half. Johnny, you got some questions for the engine in the centre of the Mindil midfield?
Yeah, certainly. First of all, congratulations on your game. I thought you played brilliantly right through the 90 minutes. But at halftime, first of all, what was the team talk? Because you guys, on the balance of it, were the better team in the first half, but you copped 2 goals probably against the run of play. What was the message at halftime?
Just the coach basically yelled to us, just give it a go, give it a go. Yeah, just we're gonna put the intensity for the second half. But yeah, lots of mistake from us in the first half. But in the end, it was the good comeback for the second half.
Oh, absolutely. And in terms of that comeback, obviously when Casuarina went down to 10 men, you could see that you guys were trying to move them around and get them tired, but some of the younger players were probably buying into the gamesmanship from Casuarina a little bit. Some of the more experienced players like yourself trying to settle things down. What were the messages that were going out there when they went down to 10?
So we're gonna go to get a goal. That is only the message, I think. And yeah.
And it was a late one.
Yeah.
And then another late one.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. Hearts were racing out there, mate. Listen, just physically, how'd you pull up? How do you feel?
It changed at the 70 minutes, so I feel still empty already there.
Yeah, I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah.
Are you at work on Monday?
Yes.
Yeah, flying planes again?
Yeah.
Yeah, just checking. Do you go over my apartment every morning? Sorry, that someone does. I thought it was you, just swimming down low, mate. Just because I take the stuff, I've got all my laundry on the balcony. I'll take it in as soon as you come past, out of respect. But listen, mate, thank you. It's always good to see you there. And as I can only echo what John Dean said, fantastic game. Really did. Well done. Well done. While we're waiting for someone else to come in, Johnny, I'll ask you one question and we'll get you to stay here, Taki, while I just do this interplay with John. Mate, you predicted that Casuarina may not be able to keep up with Mindil, and in the end you saw that happen in the very late stages of the game.
Yeah.
Had they gone not down to 10, how do you think this one would have gone?
I still think Mindil get on the score sheet.
Yep.
I still think they make an absolute game of it. You know, you could see they were coming, and more than anything else, there was the belief in Mindil.
Yep.
You know, we talked about the fact, I didn't know that Daniel would be yelling at them, but to keep doing what they were doing in the first half and results would come. But you just feel the way the game was going, the missed opportunities they had, the way the ball was falling at the feet of Casuarina, that if it didn't go down to 10, that Casuarina probably get away with the chocolates tonight. So neither side was happy before we came up to do this full-time show. Both coaches and both sets of players were unhappy, which is what you wanted to draw. But you can probably feel that Mindil might feel they got out of jail just a little bit more than Casuarina.
And just remember, if you get chocolates in the Northern Territory, they're melting. So well done, mate. Thank you. I'll get you to step out. Charles, come in. We've got one of the most experienced players in the Premier League, and Taki leaving us, and one of the babies coming in. Charles, please take your place here. Mate, how old are you?
I'm 16.
Yeah. And this was your first game of Premier League for about, full game almost.
It is my first time, because since last season, I've been playing. Last season I played 6 games, but this season this is my first game, getting more playing time. So that was a good thing for me.
And Charles, you have a really good supporting club there, because we've had a couple of chats together, and you usually have some players from the club come with you and look after you. Do you feel really welcome and settled in the club of Casuarina?
Yeah, since day one, since I came here, they've been supporting me a lot. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think it's because they think you've got talent, mate, but they'll just pass it on to you. Johnny, a couple of questions for young Charles, 16-year-old in his first appearance. Sensational.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations. I spoke to Bruce at half-time about the fact that you came on and we didn't change the game plan at all from a Casuarina perspective. And then in that second half, I felt like you really grew in confidence. You grew a foot taller because you were taking not only one but two blokes on. How did it feel? Was it a good feeling out there?
Yeah, it was a good feeling, but also I was very tired, so yeah, I just have to keep it simple, yeah.
16, mate, you're too young to be tired because you've got to do this all over again on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But tell me, when it went down to 10 men, have you been in that position before? You know, is that something that you're used to, that you train at, or is it just get there?
Yeah, I just get there. So I haven't been playing that position, so yeah, I tried my best to play it, yeah.
Yeah, and your best is very good, Charles. Thank you for coming in. Just hang in. We're going to say goodbye to everyone. This is Charles Adu. He's only 16. He's joined us. What was your country of birth in Africa?
Yeah, Ghana.
Give him 2 mics for that one.
Ghana.
Yeah, there we go. My name is Bruce Storer. This is Charles. That is John Dean. Thank you for your support. Whatever you've been watching the Men's Premier League here in Darwin on, we thank you for your support. We'll be back Tuesday night, where these guys will do it all over again. It'll be sensational to watch. I hope you enjoyed the night, and I hope you have a really good Sunday. Good night.